بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful.
Salatu wassalamu ala ashrafil Anbiya wal Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Wa ba'd. My dear brothers, I want to talk to you about the pitfalls of modern Dawah. When I say modern Dawah, I am referring to the many organizations that have sprung up around the world comparatively recently, which are headed by young ulama. Alhamdulillah, lot of enthusiasm, lot of desire to do good work, lot of desire that Islam should reach, especially the West. The focus is more on that, English speaking, not so much on the Urdu speaking or the Bangla speaking or the other language speaking populations. Much more focus is on the English speaking population. So even if the English speaking population is may not necessarily be resident in the West, but the focus is on that, of say how can we reach that population, and the Dawah organizations are focused towards that. Primary space that they occupy is big footprint on the internet, big footprint in social media, on Facebook and so on and so forth, big footprint on television. Television, by many of them, television is seen almost as an absolute essential for this work, and being on TV, having a TV channel of your own is seen as a sort of having arrived state. So if you are to be considered, these are the terms that are used, if you are to be considered as a serious player, considered by whom I don't know, what they're playing I don't know, but anyway, these are the terms. Considered a serious player, then you must have a TV channel of your own. Alhamdulillah, I have the unique perspective of being in two places simultaneously. My other incarnation is in the business world, where Alhamdulillah I am a consultant to most of the major corporations that operate globally. My expertise is on leadership development and on family businesses, and I have clients in several countries across the world. I teach at major corporate universities in the United States. I teach at the two top public service, meaning government training organizations in India, the Institute of Administration, Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, for IAS, IPS, IFS, IAAS, IRS officers, and I also teach at the National Police Academy, the Vallabhbhai Patel NPA in Hyderabad, which is purely for the police and for the non-military security forces in the country. So I have a very unique perspective on the whole issue of organization development, the whole issue of how organizations function and so on. I have a BA, I have a postgraduate qualification in management, I have a super postgraduate qualification in applied behavioral science, so I know this thing backwards. So therefore it is I thought a useful thing for me to try to put things in perspective with regard to modern Dawah and how it is handled. I want to begin by making a statement that is, design influences result. Whether it is in a product or whether it's in a service, design influences result. If you design something for a purpose, then that is the kind of result you will get. If you design something for example, if you design something for security, for enhanced security, then you will get enhanced security, but you will get reduced functionality. You will get reduced freedom. So if you design something for security and then you say this is difficult to handle, well, it is supposed to be difficult to handle. Because you did not design it for ease of handling, you did not design it for functionality, you designed it for security. Vice versa, if you say, I want something to be completely functional, accessible from anywhere, I want to punch a button and it must open up everything, then that thing will do all of that, but it will be highly insecure. And then if you say, all my data got stolen, well, that's supposed to happen. Because what you designed was not for security. It's highly functional, works beautifully, very fast, but it is insecure, because security is inversely proportional to functionality. And that's why I say design influences result. So we must look at modern Dawah organizations to see what are they designed to produce, what are they designed to accomplish. Very important for us to remember that if you want a different result, you have to change the design. To give you an example, there is a famous play that is that's the longest running drama, longest running play in the theatre in London, runs in St. Martin's Theatre in London, has been running now for 60 years continuously. And the name of that play is The Mousetrap. Now you might be amazed that for every show of those 60 years, every single day, the ending of this play is exactly the same. Same ending for 60 years. Do you think the actors are the same? Obviously not, right? Even if an actor started acting in that play 60 years ago, the day he was born, he would be 60 years old now, ready to retire. So obviously the people who were born, who first acted in Mousetrap, some of them have died. Many of them are very old and they have retired, they are no longer there. Actors have changed over 60 years, but the ending never changes. The ending is the same. Why? If you want to change the ending of a play, what must you change? Actors or script? Script. Script. You can change actors every minute, nothing will change. You change the script one time, everything will change. My contention is that modern Dawah is based on the wrong design. It's based on a combination of two models. The Christian evangelical preaching model, or if you want to say the motivational speaker model, these are both actually the same, and the corporate business model, the Western corporate business model. It's a combination of these two things that have produced the modern Islamic Dawah organizations that we see proliferating around us in the world. All of them are based on these two models. I'm talking about the modern ones, I'm not talking about the older ones. The modern internet-based, models. Now I want to give you a organization design expert's perspective on what this means. Businesses exist for the following reasons. Number one, every business exists for one reason only, and that reason is to make profit. If it is not making profit, it's not a business, it's something else. So every business exists for the purpose of making profit. Making profit is another way of saying take from the people. Yes? Where does profit come from? From customers. So businesses exist to take from people. Number two, businesses exist and will grow only as long as they differentiate in the market. Which means what? New products, new services, new faces, every day. Same old face, same old product, business will fail. You become generic, you have no brand, there is no differentiation. Number three, businesses have customers, and businesses exist to capture market share. What is market share? Gain more customers. Yes? Who is the customer? Who is the customer of your product or service? The one who can pay. If you are selling BMWs, the guy buying a Maruti is not your customer. You do not project your BMW advertising to people who are riding bicycles to work. They're not your customers. They exist, but I don't care. I'm looking at someone who has a disposable income of so much to be able to buy my car. Yes? Similarly, now you might say, well, if I am selling a cheap product, then I can go to the whole world. No, you can't. If you are selling chick shampoo in a 1 rupee sachet, the BMW driver will not buy it even if he has to die for it. It's against his image. So he's not your customer. You have something where he can buy, for the price of a BMW, he can buy 7 generations worth of shampoo. But he will not buy it from you because that is beneath his dignity. So therefore, he is not your customer. So whether it's the top end of the market or the bottom of the market, your customers are those who can pay for your product and who want to pay for your product. Third point. Fourth point. Businesses exist to destroy competition. Who is the competitor? Somebody in the same business. Yes or no? Your job, if you are in a business, your job is to destroy competition. These are the actual words used, believe it or not. I mean, many of you are businessmen and you know what I'm talking about. Actual words used. Go to a sales conference of a business and you will wonder whether you are in a sales conference of a business or whether you are in the control room of somebody running a war. All the imagery is the imagery of the battlefield. Right? And I've been in national sales conferences of businesses as as powerful and big as some very, very important and famous global brands. I'm deliberately not taking the names of the brands, but so I know what I'm talking about. So businesses exist to destroy competition. Whose competition? Somebody in the same business as me. And fifth one, business advertises itself to gain visibility, to gain market penetration. In the world of business, if your face is not known, then you don't exist. As they say in the world of business, within quotes, if you are not Googleable, you do not exist. So you have to be Googleable. You have to be on Sheikh Google must know about you, right? Last bottom line is, businesses exist to maximize bottom line profits. Right? So 5 reasons why businesses exist. 1, to make profit, which means take from people. 2, to differentiate in the marketplace, which means new things. 3, gain customers who can pay. 4, destroy competition, anybody else in my line of business. And 5th, advertise, and don't do that once in a while, do that regularly, every day. Spend big budgets on advertising because you need to be known, top of the mind recall, face known, and so on and so forth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, let us first see, before we analyze the issue of dawah, let us see what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said about His Anbiya. Because when we say dawah, who are we talking about? We are talking about the Anbiya alayhimus salam. There is no one who can do dawah the way the Anbiya did dawah. The iconic benchmark model of dawah is the dawah of the Anbiya. If somebody says, my dawah methodology is better than the Anbiya, then this person is seriously deranged. So the dawah of methodology of the Anbiya is the best because it is divinely inspired. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala showed and taught the Anbiya how to make dawah. And in Surah Al-An'am, ayah number 90, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ هَدَى اللَّهُ فَبِهُدَاهُ مُقْتَدِهِ قُلْ لَا أَسْأَلُكُمْ عَلَيْهِ أَجْرًا إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا ذِكْرَى لِلْعَالَمِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, they, meaning the Anbiya, are those whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guided. So follow their guidance. Say, no reward do I ask from you. La as'aluka alayhi ajra. La as'alukum alayhi ajra. I do not ask you for any reward. My reward is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this Quran and this Dawah is only a reminder from Rabbul Alameen. Keep this in mind and let us see why Dawah exists. I told you why business exists. Now let's see why Dawah exists. Businesses exist to take from the people. Dawah exists to give to the people. Two diametrically opposite motivations. In businesses, somebody in the same business as you is a competitor to be eliminated and destroyed. In Dawah, somebody in the same business as you is a partner to be supported. Ibrahim alayhi salam and Lut alayhi salam were both in the business of Dawah at the same time. When the Malaika came with azab for the people of Lut alayhi salam, what did Ibrahim alayhi salam say? Did he say, wow man, this is fantastic, now my competition is being eliminated? Did he say that? No. He said, what will happen to Lut? They said, no, he will be safe, alayhi salam. He's concerned about his competitor. Yeah? But the Anbiya do not have competitors, supporters. Someone in the same business as me, as Dawah, is my competitor. He is my partner. He is the one I should support. He is not my competitor. I do not exist to eliminate him. Number 3. In business, you must have a new product every day. Otherwise, who will buy? In Dawah, there is only one product. There is only one message. From day one to the last day. And that message is, La ilaha illallah. La ilaha illallah. There's no other message. In business, advertising is the lifeblood of business. Big bucks, not little bits and pieces. Big buck advertising. In Dawah, advertising is something that you hide from. You abhor it, you detest it. Why? Because advertising, fame destroys ikhlas. Fame damages ikhlas. Fame damages your sincerity towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Business is for the purpose of making money. In Dawah, money is a 5-letter word. Businesses exist for the purpose of making profit. In Dawah, profit is a 6-letter word. And for those of you who didn't get that angle of it, supposing I tell you a 4-letter word, what are you thinking? That's what it means, 5-letter word and 6-letter word. You get the point? So what to do? What to do? Should we stop? Should we shut down all these organizations? Should we say, get off the internet, stop doing Dawah? No. That's not the purpose of this whole presentation. The purpose is to ensure that we use technology to the best of our ability, but we do it keeping in mind the framework, the methodology of the Anbiya alayhimus salam. Because the purpose is to enter Jannah at the end of the day. So now, first and foremost, what to do? Number 1, concentrate on your own tarbiyah. The sad thing today is that even in Islamic universities, even in the Darul Ulooms, even in the Jamiat, Tazkiyatul Nafs wa Tarbiyatul Akhlaq are completely and totally missing. There is no period for Tazkiyatul Nafs or Tarbiyatul Akhlaq. There is no Ustad who teaches Tazkiyatul Nafs or Tarbiyatul Akhlaq. If there is one, find it for me, find me the syllabus in which it is there, find me the Ustad who is teaching Tazkiyatul Nafs and Tarbiyatul Akhlaq in the Jamia and in the university, Islamic university or the Darul Uloom, and I will take my words back in public. There is none. Tarbiyatul Akhlaq which happens, Tazkiyatul Nafs which happens by default, happens by accident, happens if you so happen to be with some ustad or somebody, or you come from a family of ulama and this happens for you, alhamdulillah. Otherwise, it does not happen. Therefore, what does the knowledge that we gain in the Darul Ulooms and the Jamiat, what does it produce? Illa masha Allah. Illa mashallah, I'm not making a I'm not saying this applies to everybody, but it applies to a great number of people. What does it produce? It produces arrogance. It produces kibr. I am an alim. I know of a particular instance where a young alim recently qualified from a university, somebody was speaking to him and he addressed him as Maulana, and he said, don't call me Maulana, I'm a mufti, call me mufti. Subhanallah. So when I met him, I asked him, I said, please tell me whose madhab, who's the founder of Maliki fiqh? He said, Imam Malik. I said, no, sorry, you are speak properly, respectfully. He said, no. I said, no. I told him, I said, how come you say Imam Malik and you are a mufti? And the world at the time when Imam Malik was in Medina, people said, how can I give a fatwa when Malik is in Medina? So was Imam Malik a mufti or not? How come he never referred to himself and other people never referred to himself as Mufti Malik? Kibr. Arrogance. I am an alim. Why? Because I read 3.5 books. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Because there is no tazkiyah. Because there is no tarbiyah. And what did the Salaf do? Ibrahim Adham rahmatullah alayh, the king of Balkh, went in search of a sheikh for tarbiyah. And he found the sheikh, and the sheikh said to him, go and clean for yourself a small place in the stable of my horse and sit there and make dhikr. That's my prescription for you. Today many people want tarbiyah. They want to come and be with this sheikh and that sheikh. Then they want the sheikh to be very sweet and nice to them. They want the sheikh never to tell them anything critical. They want the sheikh never to, then why do you come to the sheikh? For what? Go to your mother. You became like this because you got too much of that from your mother. Ibrahim Adhem went, he cleaned a small place in the stable, and he sat there, he put his... Who is Ibrahim Adhem? The king of Balkh in Afghanistan, the kingdom of Balkh in Afghanistan. From the palace, he is now sitting in the stable of a horse. And I don't know how many of you have ever seen or been inside the stable of a horse. I mean, I spent all my childhood and youth riding horses, so I know exactly what inside of a stable smells like. So Ibrahim Adhem is sitting there. In the evening, the groom of the horse, he brings the horse back, and the sheikh tells him, he said, there is a man sitting in the stable, so when you are cleaning the stable, cleaning the horse, he says, with your broom, flick some dirt onto the man. See how tarbiyah happens. See how tarbiyah happens. The sheikh is giving him instructions, he says, flick some dirt onto this man. So this groom goes and he cleans the place and he flicks some dirt onto Ibrahim Adhem. So what does Ibrahim Adhem do? Ibrahim Adhem, rahmatullah alayh, gave that man a rather large piece of his mind. Imagine his situation. First of all, he is a king. He comes here, and in this place, he is not being shown the respect that is due to him, or what he has been used to, right? He is made to sit in a stable of horse. And then this groom, this cockroach, who in my kingdom will not even be seen by me. Even my eyes will not look at somebody like that. He is so haqir. He flicks dirt on me. La hawla la quwwata illa billah. So the groom goes back to the sheikh. The sheikh says, what happened? The groom says, well, he told me all these things. It's alright. Ibrahim Adhem, rahmatullah alayhi, sat in that stable of a horse for 12 years. Making dhikr of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. 12 years. Now my submission to you, my brothers, is Ibrahim Adhem was not tied to the stable. He could have walked out. Think about this. He could have walked out. He could have said, man, this sheikh is crazy. He's a bloody madman. He makes me sit in this. I came to learn Islam. I came to learn the Quran. I came to learn hadiths of Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And you make me sit with a horse. You make me sit in a stable which is not even tahara is an issue there because the horse dung and everything is there. What kind of our Shaykh. You are an ignorant Shaykh. You got no sense. You are not a teacher. Salaam alaikum. I'm going to go find myself a teacher who knows how to teach. He could have done all of this. Yes or no? Believe me, Ibrahim Adhem rahmatullah alayhi did not sit in the stable for 12 years for the love of the horse. He sat in the stable for 12 years for the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knew that kibr, pride, it takes a long time to break. Pride takes a long time to break. This ananiyat, I am a king, I am something, takes a long time to break. Our Ustad, Shaykh Abul Hasan Ali Nadwi rahmatullah alayhi used to say, the curtain of Noor is 70,000 times more difficult to penetrate than the curtain of Zulmat. He said to penetrate the curtain of darkness, which is the curtain of ignorance, it takes only one ray of light. The curtain is gone. One candle is enough to drive out the darkness. But he said the curtain of Noor, how do you break the curtain of Noor? The curtain of Noor is the curtain of Shaitan, is the curtain of Iblis. That is the thing which made him say, خَلَقْتَهُ مِن تِينٍ وَخَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ. خَلَقْتَنِي مِن نَارٍ وَخَلَقْتَهُ مِن تِينٍ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, how come you did not obey me? He said, you created him from mud and you created me from fire. And fire is superior to mud. Yes? But his knowledge could not penetrate the fact that breaking the hukum of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was far worse than anything else. And that knowledge continued to misguide him. Not only this point, continued to misguide him. Because when Adam alayhi salam, who also made a mistake, what did Adam alayhi salam do the minute he realized the mistake? He and his wife, our mother and our father, alayhimus salam. What minute they realized, what did they do? رَبَّنَا ظَلَمْنَا أَنفُسَنَا وَإِن لَمْ تَغْفِرْ لَنَا وَتَرْحَمْنَا لَنَكُونَنَّ مِنَ الْخَاسِرِينَ. And Iblis, his knowledge, what did his knowledge make him do when he made the mistake and he realized he made a mistake? He realized he made a mistake. What did he do? أَنزِرْنِي إِلَى يَوْمِ يُبْعَثُونَ. He said, give me time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, how come you disobeyed me? He said, yeah, that's okay, but give me time. Give me time until the day of resurrection. Kibr. Wealth produces kibr. Power produces kibr. But the greatest kibr is produced by knowledge. Specifically the knowledge of Islam. The double side of the sword cuts both ways. Knowledge with tarbiyah produces tawadeh. Knowledge with tarbiyah produces humility, humbleness. Knowledge without tarbiyah produces kibr. And that's why I say, when ilm was separated from tarbiyah, the noor left the ilm. जब तालीम को तरबियत से अलग कर दिया गया तो इल्म का नूर चला गया. When ta'lim was separated from tarbiyah, the noor of ilm was taken away. And knowledge became like anything else. You go to a secular university, you read some books, you complete some portions, you give an examination, you get a degree, a certificate, you have passed. You go to a religious institution, you read some books, you pass an examination, you get a certificate, you have passed. What is the difference? Because you have a beard, because you have a topi on your head, this makes a difference? Doesn't make a difference. Rappers have beards and caps. Doesn't make a difference. The difference has to come inside here. And that comes from tarbiyah and from tazkiyah. Tazkiyatun nafs wa tarbiyatul akhlaq. Every single thing in the nafs has to be taken and slaughtered. Bismillahi Allahu Akbar. Kibr must be taken and slaughtered. Arrogance has to be taken and slaughtered. Pride has to be taken and slaughtered. And that is what is tarbiyah. Second thing to do, always check your niyyah and check your ikhlas. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? And believe me, my brothers, the only person in the world that you can fool is yourself. You can go onto an international conference platform and there are gyrating cameras, at least 5. If you are a self-respecting sheikh, you cannot have less than 5 cameras. At least 5. All of Bollywood, Hollywood technology is available to you. Strobe lights and backgrounds and flat screen computers and huge LCD screens in the back. And drum beats, because drum is halal. Or somebody does, what do they call it? With the mouth? Net rapping, what? Beatboxing. Beatboxing. He makes the sound of a flute with his mouth, and lo and behold, it has been decreed. And it has been fatwad that this is halal. Because he is not using an instrument. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. This is what happens to the mukh. This is what happens to the brain when there is no tarbiyah with the ilm. When it was said that the voice is not haram in terms of tarannum, in terms of tune for something, what does it mean? It means that when you are reciting some poetry, for example, if you are reciting a nasheed, if you are reciting a hamd to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then it is permissible for you to do that in a melodious voice. Does that refer to making the sound of a flute? Making the sound of whatever else? If that is so, then where is when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam banned, he banned music first of all, period. And then specifically he banned wind and string instruments. What was he banning? The sound or the instrument? Which one? Supposing I take 4 flutes and I make them into 4 legs of a coffee table. Is this haram? Supposing I take a violin and I put a glass plate on the violin, and this is an ornament in my house and this is a coffee table. Is this haram? Supposing I take a electronic keyboard which has neither wind nor strings, it has a chip, and I play a complete orchestra with a saxophone, with flutes, with the works on it, is this jaiz or not jaiz? And when you tell me, Shaykh, this is haram, I say, hold on. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam banned wind and string instruments. Find me wind in this, find me string in this. There is no string, there is no wind. There is only a chip. I have on my cell phone music of a flute. You know, a cell phone has no wind and no string in it. Is it jaiz or not jaiz? I am coming in the masjid and I am playing my cell phone, and the people say, what haram is this? I mean, inside the masjid you are praying this thing. It is haram anyway, but inside the masjid is more than haram. La, excuse me. You have no knowledge. Don't speak like an ignorant man. I am a sheikh. And I can tell you, wind and string instruments are banned. Sound is not banned. La hawla quwwata illa billah. This is like saying the bottle of the alcohol is banned. The alcohol itself is not banned. When we say khamar is haram, what are we talking about? I say, alright, I'm not drinking whiskey, but I'm smoking ganja. Now is this haram or halal? Is it haram or halal? On what is the dalil on which you ban drugs? Tell me. Allah did not mention the drug in the book of Allah. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam didn't talk about LSD, and he didn't talk about mandrax, and he didn't talk about grass, and he didn't talk about all of those things, or cocaine, Find me a hadith where it says it is haram to sniff cocaine. Start sniffing cocaine. What's wrong with that? I'm not even intoxicated. My senses now are hugely now even enhanced. I can feel everything 10 times more. Yes? I'm not going to sleep, man. I'm like, ooh. So this is jaiz or haram? Which one? How come everybody is silent? You don't even know that, yeah? It's snorting cocaine, jaiz or haram? What is the dalil? Well, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only prohibited khamar. He only prohibited alcohol. Same dalil which we apply there. How come we don't apply the same dalil to this net boxing or whatever the devil is? What do you call it? Beatboxing. How come we don't apply the same dalil? The dalil of intoxication, what is it based on? The effect of the thing. The effect of the thing. So dalil is khamar. Liquor is banned and anything which produces the same effect is also banned. That is the basic principle of the Sharia. So music is banned for a reason. What is the reason for the music is banned? Because of the effect it produces. Therefore, that same sound, whether it comes out of a wooden tube, whether it comes out of a metal tube, whether it comes out of a chip, whether it comes out of my mouth, effect is the same because of the sound. But what happens? Because now somebody tells me, shaitan sitting behind me tells me, you know what, if you make a video and this video has no background tune on it, people are not going to watch it. So therefore now you must put in this background tune. However now, since I am an alim, I am a sheikh, I have to find a dalil of how to let this background tune enter through the back door. Background tune through the back door. That's even musical, rhymes. So I find a dalil. But I forget that one day, me with my video and my background tune have to stand before Allah. There what is the dalil? There what is the dalil? So always check your niyyah and check your ikhlas. It is very possible for me to stand here and say I am doing this only and only for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But tell me, who knows why I am doing it? Only two people. Only two. Me and my Rabb. No one else. Nobody else. That's the reason why it is so important to be fearful, to be afraid, to be terrified, to be horrified of the running away of ikhlas. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the truth of that thing. I can say whatever I want. But whether it is true or not, only Allah knows. So always check your niyyah and your ikhlas. And not check it once, check it every minute. Check it every minute. 3. Always refer for islah to somebody else. Humility is a very critical foundational principle in Dawah. Be humble. And again, don't pretend. Don't say, oh, no, I am nothing. You are actually nothing. Seriously. One day, one of my shuyukh, alhamdulillah, I've got some very, good shuyukh who tell me some bad things sometimes, but that is good for me, alhamdulillah, for my tarbiyah. One day, one of my shuyukh, he emailed me, he saw something, he emailed me from America and he praised me. He said, alhamdulillah, may Allah use you and so on, gave me dua. So I told him, Shaykh, Jazakumullahu khairan, but really I am nothing. So he wrote me back and he said, you are right and I am also right. And he said, the day you believe that you are actually something will be the day to start worrying. Number 4, never take money for dawah. Never take money for glorifying Allah. Never take money for teaching the book of Allah. My brothers and sisters, I personally consider it to be the haram of the haram. To take money to glorify Allah. To take money to speak about the greatness of Allah. To take money for dawah. Haram, haram, haram. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it haram. I didn't make it haram. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said this about His Anbiya in the Quran more than 14, 15 times. And for every one of them, He said, they don't ask you for reward. They don't ask you for reward. They said, our reward is not with you. We don't ask you for reward. Our reward is with Allah. Do not take money for dawah. It has become a norm today. Like we have them. That's why I said the model is the evangelical Christian preacher and the motivational speaker. And the norm is that like motivational speakers, I'm a motivational speaker and I take money, I take reasonable good money. for motivational speaking, not for dawah. And I'm not presenting myself as a model for you. I'm not a model for anybody. But I'm just telling you, because somebody will say, well, you know what, he's a motivational speaker. You've seen his face everywhere on motivational speaking. Yes, I take money for that. You also go take money for that. The model is that. In motivational speaking, we have a term called the speaker circuit. In modern dawah, exactly the same name, speaker circuit. How do you justify that as a sheikh, that you take money to go and speak about the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this conference or that conference? How do you justify this to yourself? How do you justify this to your Rabb? Find me one Nabi who did that. Find me one of the A'immah of Islam who did that. Find me one of the Salafus Salihin whose names we like to take, Ibn Taymiyyah and Ibn al-Qayyim al-Jawziyah and this one and that one. Find me one of them who took money to give a bayan. Find me one of them who took money to give a lecture about Islam. Find me one of them who took money to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then how do you take it? What's your dalil? De-link personal income from dawah. No money. If you can't, my point is very simple. Allah sent you to take from Him and give to the people. Right? If you know how to do that, do that. If you don't know how to do that, go learn how to do that. But don't take the name of Allah and take from the people. That is not dawah. That is business. Differentiate the two. That is business. You run a dawah organization on a business model. What did I say? Design produces results. You run a dawah organization on a business model, you will make money. You will make humongous amounts of money and you will make a humongous fire in the Jahannam for yourself. Simple as that. Because the business model is designed to make profit. It is designed to take from the people, which is the opposite of what the Anbiya did. So my point is, you want to stand and do the work of the Anbiya, learn to do it the way the Anbiya did it. The Anbiya, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent them to take from Him and give to the people. And Allah is their paymaster, Allah is their employer. My point is, if you don't know how to take from Allah, then don't stand here. Go and learn. Go and learn. Don't take from people. Do not take from people. Do not lower the waqar of the name of our Rabb. Do not lower the honor that is due to Allah Jalla wa Ala by begging people, by passing a hat in one name or another. Just because you call it fundraising, it is still passing a hat. Because that fund which you are raising it in the name of charity. You are raising it in the name of zakat. You are raising it in the name of this crying woman whose picture you showed, or this some crying child whose picture you showed, and so on and so forth. But you know and I know that your salary is coming out of the same money. You know and I know that the rent for your nice and very beautiful apartment comes from that money. You know and I know that that SUV which you are driving comes out of that money. You know and I know that the servants in your house come out of that money. You know and I know that your iPad and iPod and I this and I that is coming out of the money, and one day you will be I dead, and then what will you do? Right? Think about this. Think about this. Are you saying to the people at the time of fundraising, are you putting up a slide there, are you putting up a screen there saying, this is my salary, these are my perks, and so on and so forth, and therefore, and also obviously everyone else is also getting, so all of this is there, so money which you are giving, so much percentage of that is going to keep us in the style to which we have become accustomed. Rest of it will go to that crying woman whose photo I just showed you, and now are you willing to pay me? Be honest. Be honest. You want to do fundraising like that? No problem. If I am giving you money so that you can travel business class, I got no problem with that. But tell me that. Tell me that. Don't take the money in the name of the crying woman and spend it on an airline ticket. De-link your income. I'm not saying don't travel business class. Travel business class, travel first class, buy the whole plane. What do I care? Find an income for that. Find an income for that. De-link your income. Never take money for dawah. Number 5. Shun big titles and personal publicity. Big problem with ikhlas. Big problem with ikhlas. What was the title of Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu? Khalifatul Rasulullah, which we say. Did he ever call himself, I am the Khalifa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam? When you come and talk to me, address me as Ya Khalifatul Rasulullah. Did he say that? Last one. Learn to live simply and control greed. Seriously, think about this. For someone who has the Quran in our heart, for someone who is Hafiz of the Quran, for someone who has studied Islam to whatever extent, if he looks with greedy eyes at the material possessions of somebody else, he is dishonoring the Quran. Allah has given him a ni'mah which has no price tag on it. It is incomparable. And having that ni'mah with him, he looks with greed at a car, at a house. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Live simply. And then that is when dawah will become possible the way I am saying it. You live simply, your needs are small, you need very little to exist. That very little you can easily make it in another business which you do and give your full time to dawah. No problem. And if you say, well, I cannot give 24 hours to dawah, who told you to give 24 hours to dawah? Anyway, don't give 24 hours to dawah. Give 23 and a half hours to dawah. Right? Half an hour a day is a lot of time. And if your life is simple, if you have simplified your life, you will find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give a lot of barakah in that. You can make money on the side in your business. We know about Imam Abu Hanifa, we know about different Aimma, we know about different ulama. People had their businesses. Somebody who had a cloth trading business, somebody had some other business. They ran those businesses, they did not take money from their work. Did Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayh, did he charge people a fee to give a fatwa? Read history. Read history. Did he charge them a fee for fatwa? Did he charge them a fee if they called him for arbitration in a family dispute? We have lowered the waqar of the knowledge of Islam. We have reduced the knowledge of Islam. We have dishonored the knowledge of Islam. May Allah forgive us. Because we are running behind people, because we are running behind money. My brothers and sisters, I want to remind you, you can't buy passion. Sometimes, because of my incarnation as a leadership development and organization development expert, some of my dear friends who are in the, I'm not being sarcastic, but I call it dawah business. But that's what it is. It's dawah based on a business model. Because I have attended internal meetings of organizations. After, for example, an international conference, we talk about those conferences. And what is the question being asked? How much money did we make? Not how many people got hidayah. Not how many people's life changed. Not how many people have started following the Sunnah. Not how many people have started following Fara'id. How much money did we make? And you might say, well, how on earth am I supposed to find out how people's lives changed? Because my conference, 50,000 people came. My submission to you is, if you know what I know, then you will know one very important thing, which is that people, if you want to see what people value, see what they measure. So if you valued it, you would measure it. You would find a way of measuring the penetration of your message of dawah. You would find a way of seeing how the lives of people are changing. But you have no value for that. You have value for money, and therefore you measure money. You cannot buy passion. So people ask me, they say, we have a retention problem. Our people, our dawah workers are leaving us. We try to have well-paid da'iyah, well-paid dawat. Well-paid dawat is like saying halal pork. If the dawah worker is working because of a salary, then something is foundationally wrong in his whole approach itself. And that's why he leaves. He is working for a salary, so he leaves for a higher salary. Why are you surprised? Why are you surprised? You are both thinking correctly. You running the organization to make money, he is running the organization to earn money. So therefore, when somebody else offers him more money, he goes. You cannot buy passion. So forget pay packages and think tahajjud. Ask yourself one question. How many of my people in my organization are standing in the night and crying before Allah and begging for the success of my mission? Ask this question. We like numbers, no? Oh, I've got an huge organization, global organization, 50,000 students, 50,000, 100, 100,000, 500,000. How many of them are standing in tahajjud and crying before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the success of our mission? Ask yourself this question. And my theory is very simple. I say if it cannot make you cry, it cannot make you work. Simple as that. If it can't make you cry, it can't make you work. So what to do? Number one, complete transparency in all financial matters. You're raising money from the public has a right to know what you are doing with that money. It is their right. Don't justify essential wrong action by manufacturing justifications. Take for example the issue of conferences. Right? We all like to have international conferences. What happens in an international conference? You have an international conference, and this is a very high profile conference, and this conference is actually sponsored by the king of the country. So now in this conference you are there as this big sheikh, and there are another 23 shuyukh with you, this galaxy of stars. Huge state-of-the-art conference center, the works. And the king is sitting right there in the opening session. Listen to all those 23 speeches. Find me one of those shuyukh who said to the king what they should have said to the king. And what should they have said to the king? They should have said to the king what Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal would have said to the king. They should have said to the king what Imam Abu Hanifa would have said to the king. They should have said to the king what Abu Bakr and Omar and Uthman and Ali radiallahu anhum ajma'in would have said to the king. They should have said to the king that you have made everything haram, halal in your country. Fear Allah. Ittaqullah ya Malik. You have legitimized what Allah made haram, you made halal. Allah made alcohol haram in your country. There are open pubs and alcohol shops which are legal, from which you are getting an income because you are taxing that. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made interest banking, Allah made interest income haram, and you are running in your country interest-based banking and you are taxing them, and that is your income. Fear Allah, O king. Am I wrong in saying this? Would Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal have stood there and would he have said, what a wonderful king, how much of love for Islam he has, how much of money he is spending here? Well, you know, the money he is spending there is a lot less than the money he is spending on his race horses which are in the stables. Go and check the numbers. So what happened to your ilm? You went for all those years to the Darul Uloom, you went for all those years to the Jamia this and the Jamia that, to stand in front of the king, and you don't even have the guts to speak the truth? La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. And this is an Islamic conference? That's an Islamic conference where not one person has the guts to speak the truth? I'm not saying to you that you must go there and say it. I'm saying if you go there, you must say it. If you can't say it, don't go there. If you can't say it, don't have the conference. But you know why you have the conference? Because you have to make money. And the bigger the splash, the bigger the money. The king is sitting there, big splash, so big money. But what must I do now? I have to be politically correct. So I cannot say anything against the king. Can I openly say anything against homosexuality? No. I cannot say anything openly against homosexuality. Can I say anything openly against women and men mixing without any reason in the marketplace? No, I can't do that. Why? Because in my own conference, a lot of the conference income comes from the shopping. And we have given shops to we have a whole exhibition and a whole shopping center which is attached with the conference. They are paying us money to have their stalls and so on. And of course the brothers will go there. And of course the sisters will go there. And of course there is no parda between the brothers and the sisters. And of course, after all, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He didn't give us eyes on all around our heads. He gave us eyes only in one direction. Alhamdulillah. If I look in this direction, rest of it is blind, no problem. Am I exaggerating? Tell me. I attended one conference in my life in order to see what actually happens in a conference. Alhamdulillah, I get invited to every conference on earth. All the big ones. I don't go. Because I put a condition to the people. I said, if you invite me, this is what I am going to stand there and say. And the people will say, Sheikh, you know why? I love you very much. Stay home. Stay at home. My brothers and sisters, I'm saying to you, ittaqullah. Concentrate on getting the acceptance of Allah. And the only time that you and I will know whether Allah accepted us is when we see Malakul Maut standing in front of us. Not before that. Not before that. We will not see whether we are accepted or not with Allah. The only indicator is when Malakul Maut stands before us. And then تَتَنَزَّلُ عَلَيْهِمُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ أَلَّا تَخَافُوا وَلَا تَحْزَنُوا وَأَبْشِرُوا بِالْجَنَّةِ الَّتِي كُنْتُمْ تُوعَدُونَ نَحْنُ أَوْلِيَاؤُكُمْ فِي الْحَيَاةِ الدُّنْيَا وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ. When this happens, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. But until that day, we will not know. We will not know. No matter how many people come and say nice things to you, no matter how many people criticize you, no matter how many people praise you, we don't know one or the other. Complete transparency, absolutely critical. As I said, your projects run on public money which you raise from the ummah. The ummah has a right to know what is happening to that money. Be transparent. And understand, transparency builds credibility, while its absence produces doubt. And tell people before they ask you, because one day Allah will ask you. My brothers and sisters, let me remind myself and you, Allah does not need me, Allah does not need you. Our job is to get accepted. The key is to get accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we get accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He will train us and equip us for His work. The difference between getting recruited by Allah and getting recruited by a human being is, human beings recruit people to fill their gaps. If I don't know accounts, I will recruit an accountant. If I am myself a supreme accountant, I will not recruit an accountant, I will recruit an engineer. Because that is not my area of expertise. Human beings recruit to fill their gaps. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has no gaps. Allah does not need our talents. Allah created us and our talents. And Allah can give us talents which we never had when we were born. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks for the purity of the heart. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks for ikhlasun niyyah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks for sincerity. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala finds that sincerity and finds that ikhlas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives what the person needs to take his message all across the world. So gain acceptance by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If He accepts you, if He accepts me, then He will give me the talents that I need to do His work. My brothers and sisters, I remind myself when you, publicity and fame are lethal weapons, lethal traps for our own ikhlas. They force you to compromise your standards, and I gave you the example just now. Right? Beatboxing, compromising of standard. What happens in international Islamic conferences? Compromising of standards. I'm sorry if you hate me for saying this, that is a fact, and you know it's a fact. And if you were not one of those standing on that stage, shining in the light, you would say, you would agree with me. But because you have chosen to stand and shine in the light, now you can't agree with me because you can't do both things. Please understand. Understand. Publicity and fame, they put a lock on your tongue. They lock up your Amar bil Maruf. They enslave you to the media. Now what you say, how you say, what examples you give is not directed and dictated by the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is dictated by your publicity manager. He will tell you, say this, don't say that, go easy on this one, don't say this too much, don't talk about hijab, don't talk about niqab, la hawla la quwwata illa billah. Niqab, no, talk about it. Don't talk about dargahs and shirk. This country, this place, a lot of that, people like you very much, Sheikh. You know what? They like your turban so much. Don't tell them that going and worshipping on a grave is shirk. They will brand you as Salafi. And if you are in a Salafi country, don't give examples of any of the ulama from India, Pakistan, because they will brand you as Tablighi or something. If you say Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi, they'll say, no, this is a misguided fellow. Who do you want to fear? Fear one Allah or fear the rest of the world? Your choice. Fear one Allah or fear the rest of the world? As I said, dealing your personal income. I'll give you 2 examples. Maulana Qasim Nanotwi Rahmatullah alayhi, the founder of Darul Uloom Deoband. He took a salary. He used to take a salary for his job. His salary was 1 rupee 50 paisa. Now this was in the past. This was say maybe 80, 90 years ago. So do your sum, there are enough accountants here. Do the opposite of an NPV calculation and say 1 rupee in 1900, for example, if you say 1 rupee in 1900, I'm going 100 years earlier. So 1 rupee in 1900, what is it worth, today? And do the calculation. You're still not going to come up with a 5-figure number, believe me. Right? Now, Qasim Nanotwi Rahmatullah alayhi used to take a salary of 1 rupee 50 paisa. He used to spend 1 rupee on himself and he used to send 50 paisa to his mother who lived in Aligarh. After a few years, his mother passed away. So Qasim Nanotwi Rahmatullah alayhi wrote a letter to Darul Uloom Deoband and said, please reduce my salary by 50 paisa because I do not need it anymore, my mother has died. In the work of modern Dawah business, do we talk about reducing salaries or increasing salaries? Which one? Qasim Nanotwi Rahmatullah alayh, his own lifestyle was such that 1 rupee was enough for him. And what did Allah do with him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him the founder of an institution which for 100 years has led the Muslim world in the business of teaching of Islam. Led the Muslim world in India in the freedom struggle of India. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of students who, when they qualify, what do they call themselves? Qasmi. They don't say Deobandi. They go to Darul Uloom Deoband, but they call themselves Qasmi. Second example, another wali of Allah, insha'Allah. Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib Rahmatullah alayhi, one of the ulama of Tabligh. Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi, who was the founder of the Tablighi Jamaat, Tabligh movement in India, sent him to Medina. He sent him, he said, go and spend 4 months in Medina and come back. Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib Rahmatullah alayhi went and spent 4 months and he came back. From the station, he went to the masjid, to the markaz in Nizamuddin, met Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi, who was his teacher as well. And Maulana Ilyas asked him, kya samjha kuch? Kaam samajh mein aaya? He said, did you understand the work? And Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Sahib said, Hazrat, samajh mein aa gaya. I have understood the work. So Maulana Ilyas Rahmatullah alayhi told him, in that case, take the same bag and go back to Medina. Don't even go home. If you think you understood the work of Dawah, go back to Medina. Another 4 months. He didn't even go home. And these are the days without cell phones, without phones. His family does not know where is he, what is he. Once in a while letter comes, that's all. He went back. He came back. Same thing happened, he went back. He spent 1 year. At the end of 1 year, he came back, he asked him, did you understand the work? And he said, I have understood the importance of the work. I don't understand the work. Well, Elias told him, now go home. Same man lived in Medina all his life and did the work of Dawah from Masjid al-Nabawi, the Sharif. For various reasons, people raised things against him and so on and so forth. And on 3 or 4 occasions, Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Rahmatullahi was deported from Saudi Arabia back to India. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created a situation such that he was again invited back. So he would be deported and invited back. And in the end, Maulana Sayyid Ahmad Khan Rahmatullahi died in Medina. His janazah was prayed in Masjid al-Nabawi and he is buried in Baqi. Now, one of the deportations, eyewitness account, one of the deportations, the shurta came, the police came, and the man came, very respectful, he is an alim, so he is treating him respectfully. The Saudi policeman, he came and he said, here is the deportation order, you have been ordered to leave, so please pack your bags. He brought a pickup truck, he said, we have brought a truck to take your bags and so on and so forth, we'll go to the airport. So Maulana Sayyid Khan Rahmatullah said, please wait. He and his wife were living there. About half an hour later, both of them came out, each of them holding one small attaché case, one small bag. So the shurta, Maulana spoke Arabic fluently. So the policeman, he said, Sheikh, you haven't understood. You are leaving Saudi Arabia for good. Right? That's why I brought the truck. Bring all your furniture, whatever it is, we'll pack it and send it off. You are leaving for good. Well, Sayyidina Khan Sahib Rahmatullah, I told him, he said, this is all I have. He said, do you think I came to the city of Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam to make money? Do you think I came to accumulate material? This is what I have. My brother was there, he was one of his khudam. He said the Saudi policeman wept. He cried. He said, who are we sending away? He said, who are we sending away? He said, this man is barakah. This is the wali of Allah. We are sending him away. He said, Shaykh, please forgive me. Pray for my forgiveness. I have to do my duty. I am only do my duty. Left to myself, Allah, you are like a sahabi. Your life, I look at you, you are like this. He said, we are sending you. Subhanallah. He said, I am a poor policeman. What can I do? I am only following orders. This is dawah. This is ikhlas. Look at ourselves. Where are we on this standard? And now I'm not even going to the level of Sahaba and so on and so forth. I'm talking about people of our time. People we know. My brothers and sisters, the one who thinks that his ikhlas is not in danger is the one who is in the greatest danger. Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal Rahmatullah Alayhi is dying on his deathbed. His son Muhammad is with him. And he reports and he says that my father was losing consciousness and getting back consciousness in state of nazar. And he said in that state my father was saying, not yet, not yet. Whenever he got consciousness, he would say, not yet. So he said, I got worried and I said, what has happened to my father? MashaAllah, his whole life was for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now when he's dying, he's saying, not yet, for what? So when his father got consciousness, Muhammad bin Ahmad, he asked him, he said, why are you saying, what do you mean not yet? So Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal, he said, don't you see who is here? He said, Iblis is sitting here. And Iblis is telling me, Ahmad, you have escaped me. Ahmad, you have escaped me. And I am telling Iblis, not yet, because still some life is in me. Khashyatullah. Innama yakhshallaha min ibadihil ulama. Allah said, the people who fear Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala the most are the ulama. What does it mean? Somebody who graduated from this university or that university? It means the sign of an alim is the khashyat of Allah. Not how many books he has in his head. Today we are like walking libraries. We have this kitab and this kitab and this kitab and this kitab, and I have read Hidayah and I have read this and I have read that, and I have read all these books and they're all in my head. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say about people who read books and those books have no effect on them? Kamathalil himar yahmilu asfara. They are like donkeys which are laden with books. Does not give any benefit to the donkey. Brothers and sisters, humility and tawbah. Very important. What must we do? Be humble and make tawbah. Because the reality is that we are respected only and only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid our faults. Not because we deserve respect. Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi, very famous qawl. He said that I have known people who did not have knowledge. Who were people who were sinners. They used to commit sins also sometimes. But they never pointed a finger at anybody else. They never criticized other people. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hid their faults and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala glorified them. Gave them rank and people respected them. And he said, I have also known people who had a lot of knowledge and who led pious lives, but they criticized other people and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened their lives for the people to see and they were dishonored. Please understand, people respect us not because we deserve respect. As I said, if I say I am nothing, that is the fact. I am nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes muzayyan. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decorates. I don't know how many of you have ever seen this. That's why I say live with awareness, live thoughtfully. Have you ever walked on a beach early morning sometimes? And as you're walking on a beach early morning, sometimes you see in the distance something that suddenly shines from the sand like a diamond. You know, this very bright spark. And you say, wow, there's a diamond on the beach. When you reach there, is there a diamond? No. It's a grain of sand with a little bit of mica on it. Sand is in any case, silicon. So it is mica. So a little bit of mica. And a ray of the sun strikes it at a particular angle and reflects. So the sand is only reflecting, the grain of sand is only reflecting the light of the sun. It shines like the sun. But what is the reality of that thing? It's a grain of sand. It's a grain of sand. As long as the grain of sand remembers that it's a grain of sand, the sun will continue to reflect off it. But the day the grain of sand decides that I don't need the sun, I am the sun, start producing light. Let me see. Start producing light. You are sand. You are sand. You are less than sand. You are turab. You are less than turab because you will go inside turab. So thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy and continue to make tawbah. Tawbah cools the anger of Allah. Tawbah is the guarantee that insha'Allah our amal are free from riya. Riya is shirk. Riya is shirk. Never seek to be an imam. Never seek to be a qaid. Never seek to be a leader. Never seek to become somebody who the world must look up to in order to learn. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Never seek to do all that. And don't give me the dalil of Yusuf alayhi salam and so on and so forth. I know all the dalil, believe me. They refer to different people. Don't be in such a hurry to compare yourself to the Anbiya of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Yusuf did it, so I can do it. You are Yusuf? You are Yusuf alayhi salam? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did the tarbiyah of Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison. And Yusuf alayhi salam made dua for the prison. And that's why I say, the bigger the title, the bigger the pit. Baharul Ulum, Shaykhul Haram, Shaykhul Arab wal Ajam. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi rajiun. Bigger the title, deeper the pit. Shun titles. Sheikh nobody. Milkshake. Right? Are you a sheikh? Yeah, I'm a milkshake. Yeah? At least that is sweet. At least that is sweet. Yeah? Milkshake. I tell people, the only reason you call me sheikh is because my beard is white. There is no other reason. Because I'm an old man. And in Arabic, what do you call an old man? You call me sheikh. So I'm an old man. But if you are calling me a sheikh for any other reason, let me debunk you right now. Let me debunk you right now. Invite towards Allah. Do not invite towards yourself. Do not invite towards your organization. Invite towards Allah. Remove yourself from between Allah and His slave. Remove yourself from between the Rabb and His Abd. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will use you to connect the Abd to Himself. If you put yourself in the middle, it is shirk. If you put yourself in the middle, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove you. If you develop taqwa, Allah will teach you. وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهَ يُعَلِّمُكُمُ اللَّهُ. The one who has taqwa, Allah will teach. Focus on tarbiyah, my brothers and sisters. Understand, there is no arrived state in tarbiyah. There is no arrived state. Tarbiyah is a journey. It ends when we die. How do you know our tarbiyah is successful? When we die with La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah in the path of Allah, then we know the tarbiyah is successful. The result comes at the end. The end is day. The end is our last day. Make muhasiba daily, because one day the muhasiba will be made for us. And remember, you can only fool yourself. I can only fool myself. I remind myself. And I also remind myself and I remind you that just because we can find a dalil, it does not make it right. I learned with an amusing story. I think I've been too serious. There's a story of a man called Mullah Nasruddin. A lot of Mullah Nasruddin stories. So Mullah Nasruddin one day made another. He made a manat and he said he had no children. So he made another and he said, Ya Allah, if you give me a son, I will play the drum on the mimbar. So his wife told him, are you mad? What kind of a thing? If you play the drum on the mimbar, people will kill you. They will kick you out of the masjid. He said, no, I made another. I'm talking about creating dalail to suit your wrong actions, right? So Mullah Nasruddin made this. Allah gave him a son. So now he has to fulfill the nadar. So what does Mullah Nasruddin do? Mullah Nasruddin goes for Jum'ah khutbah with a drum. He goes on the mimbar and he says, Ya ibadallah, ittaqullah. He said, oh people, fear Allah. He said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made music haram. And he said, playing this drum is haram. Playing it like this is haram. Playing it like this is also haram. Khalas, his job is over. He had a dalil, he stood and played the drum on the mimbar. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Do not manufacture dalail because Allah gave you ilm. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Fear Allah. Remember, for the one who has no ilm, there is the rahmah of Allah. For the one who has ilm, there is the adl of Allah. There is the adl of Allah. Let us live in this world in order to correct ourselves. Let us live in this world in order to straighten our own lives. Let us live in this world in order to gain the acceptance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let us find a Muslim. Let us find somebody to correct us. Let us focus on our tarbiyah and focus only on one thing, which is to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyil kareem wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain bi rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.